Well, when we're recording, there's Roland. Ryan, what are you doing over there? Foland, hi, how are you?
Ahoy, I'm doing good. This time of year means putting up Christmas lights on the boat with my folks. So long, busy days of work, Christmas lights, work, and work.
Now, there's
And then
right.
some yoga and working out too, I
And
guess.
you live on the Long Beach, so you're talking about the Queen, what's it, Queen Mary or something over
The
there?
Queen Mary, yeah. Yeah, if you look at the coast here, there's a very long beach, and that's where I'm at.
All right, and do you put lights on that boat? Is that your, like full-time job?
No, not full-time job, but it was actually my first entrepreneurial adventure because Mrs. Kawaguchi next door, when I was in probably sixth grade, she
Yeah.
saw me and all the decorations and she needed some help. And so I said, well, I'll charge you 20 bucks an hour. And at the time that was a gold mine. And so for my formative middle school years, every Thanksgiving, I would put up Christmas lights around the neighborhood. And that gave me enough cash flow for the entire year. I did all the way through high school, even picked up some jobs in college. It's part of my DNA.
I love that. I have a similar DNA as that as well. Making a buck here or there, working so on. Energy. It was a Mallory plant, and then it became an Energizer company in town. And I think I cleaned a toilet or two. But the point is that it's okay to be entrepreneurial at a younger age, and if they gave you 10 cents, you would be happy, right?
Exactly. And it's there's value in sharing the stories of the weird jobs, whether it's cleaning toilets or putting up Christmas lights, because that's a place where we can relate to. And it's a lot easier to relate to things that have happened. And it's a good way to get caught up. So we're already ditching the act here right out the gate. We're talking about the jobs that we first had that we, might not necessarily have been like, it's not like, hey, I'm Ryan, the Christmas light hanger-upper, but I used to do that.
UPS newspaper boy. So in any case, it's just what it all is. So, but you wrote a book here about these kinds of experience and are open enough to share it with the world. Ditch the Act, reveal the surprising power of the real you. Wow, the real you and greater success. Okay. So
Yeah.
who is the real you? How do you figure out who the real you is to start
Well,
off?
first you have to identify how many yous you have. And if you are talking on a Zoom, you might be a certain personality. And then when you get off that Zoom and you talk with your wife, you might be different. And then when you talk with your kids, you might be a whole different. And then when you're with your coworkers, you might be different. We put on these faces or facades or masks to play up or play down to the situations.
Okay.
But what happens if you're trying to find success is that you tend to try to fake it until you make it. And I don't think that strategy works anymore. I tried it. I can tell you it doesn't work.
So what do you mean? Yeah, I agree with you. You kind of know what you're doing because it's just a matter of time that you do get, people will say, obviously he doesn't know what he's doing. Actually the people that really know, within maybe 2 words, they'll find out whether you know what you're talking about or not. But now, how do you translate that into a book that's going to help people?
Yeah, so the book is in 3 parts. One, my co-author and I, we actually show what ditching the act is. And we sort of spill all the beans, the good, the bad, and the ugly, just to see what that looks like. And then we showcase other examples of other people in different walks of life. And we show the importance of ditching the act, which is being vulnerable and just being true to yourself. And the final part of the book is a step-by-step how to do it. So it kind of follows the educational model of I do, we do, you do. So we are examples, and then we sort of show you what it looks like, and then we encourage you to do that yourself.
Okay. So, like, what's step one here? What do we? Where do we go to? Well, first, is it education is the root of all success? You kind of know somehow that your act is not a good act.
No,
how
I
do you
think
know
that
that?
I think we learn through experience, and we mistake the difference between experience and expertise. Just understand this for a second. If I were to ask somebody, why is somebody going to hire you? Why are they going to invest in your company? Why are they going to be attracted and connected and resonate with you? Most people, when given the option of expertise versus experience, a lot of them lean towards, well, they want to work with me if I'm an expert. And that is how you can get caught in the trap of faking it if you're not really, really that expert. I mean, you might not be. But when you share your experiences, from Christmas light hanging with Mrs. Kawaguchi to the things that went wrong, to almost filing bankruptcy, to getting a DUI, all these things that like life throws at you, what it does is it teaches you lessons. And when you take those lessons and share your experience, that is when people will start to see you as an expert. And so one of the first steps that I like to share as a really clear example is your online bio, right? If I go to your LinkedIn and I read your bio, does it read that you are just amazing, results driven, year over year, you're doing this, you had this accolade, accolade, accolade. And that makes you maybe look like an expert, but it doesn't make you relatable. It doesn't make you feel like you have a human side to you. And I think now more so than ever, when we have this digital wall that we're connecting through, like the small talk in the beginning of Zooms is always like energizing and fun. And then you're like, all right, let's get to business. So it's about letting your guard down and thinking, does your bio online make you human? And oftentimes it doesn't.
You know, so I'm on that page, you know, but I'm on that page, right? I'm out there, and I like to share my little silly ways of life and being all the time. I'm in this good news thing. I tell you, you know, I clean the bathrooms. So, but you know, and it's interesting what you're saying, and I agree. I want to give you just one example that came to my mind.
Yeah,
famous
share it.
Doctor, MD. His name is Dr. Bernie Siegel. He was a very renowned doctor who talks about, you know, improving your life and so on and so on. He's been around a long, long time. He's the old school kind of therapist slash doctor, naturalist. Love is on his pad. His prescription pad is love.
Oh, I like that.
Love. So he said, you know, if you want to get just a little recognition, you know, put a little Band-Aid on your face right here. And the next thing you know, people say, oh, you okay? Did you hurt yourself? Whatever. And the next thing you know, you're in a 2-hour conversation with somebody. So I think what I'm bringing that out in that, I agree with you. I like to put down that I'm a sax player and I'm a grandpa on my thing. And I have executives of presidential, you know, corporate world saying, some of them saying to me, oh, what do they need to know that for? For me, it's what's the most important thing in my life. So I got a sense you think that's a good thing.
I think that's a great thing. And I'm gonna take your real life analogy and I'm gonna make it a little bit more modernized, because I think we all do have Band-Aids on our face, but they're clear Band-Aids.
Okay.
And when you ask someone, how are you doing, which is the default, or you get onto a Zoom and there's this like, oh, how's your day going? How was your Thanksgiving? There's always these like prompt questions. Typically, I would say most all the time, we default to a positive answer no matter what. Oh, it was good. It was good. Like, yeah, Thanksgiving was good. Christmas, yeah, it was good. Yeah, it's good. I'm good. But really, you might have like a bandage on your face, a bruise on your knee, a cast on with your leg, a dog biting at your ankle. And so one of the core concepts to get how this works, don't be afraid to go first. And when I say go first, be honest. So if you ask me, how are you doing? Instead of saying, oh, I'm good, I'd be like, actually, my feet are freezing right now. And then all of a sudden, instead of your candid reply or your canned reply to, oh, I'm good, you're like, your toes are cold? Ryan, I'm in New York. It is freezing here. Let's get real here. I'm the one who's cold. I've got a heater under my desk. And all of a sudden, it allows you to help the other person to ditch the act. So as a manager, if you ask your employees, how are you doing? Of course, they're going to tell you you're good, that they're good. But as a manager, if you're like, yeah, well, this was kind of a rough Thanksgiving. You know, we didn't get together with the family. We had this issue. I overcooked the turkey. And then your employer is going to be like, you too? I can never seem to get the turkey right. And it opens up. So to ditch the act can be as simple as just being honest, but being the first one to be honest. And it opens up the opportunity for everybody else to share the Band-Aids that they have. And that's the common ground.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm going to give you one other example just because you're smart.
Do it. Let's go.
Just because when I was an executive, actually, at CBS Television, and so I was associate producer of a soap opera. I had worked my way up, and they sent me away to management trainee class. And they had a well-known guy running this thing, and they had these Harvard reviews about how to run a business, you know. And who was and they broke us up into groups, and they said, here's the example. Who is the best leader of a company? The guy, the guy or slash girl, whatever, who sits in his office or her office and almost even puts their feet up and they kind of read the paper. They're knowledgeable about the world. And every once in a while, they walk around to the manager over here, the manager over there. They, in Yiddish, we call it kibbutz. They talk a little bit. They find out. And they find out a lot more. And so it ended up being, everybody said, no, this guy's terrible. He's no good. I'm the only one who said, hey, I think this guy is good. He makes people comfortable. They can do their job. If they can't, you're going to know it. So I think it goes along with what you're saying here. It's actually making people trust you, feel comfortable with you, so they can really tell you that the actual way that you guys are planning to do this business stinks. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. And it let's go back to that trust issue. I think when we get into a series of management levels, there becomes this difference between what you get paid, what your responsibilities are, and sometimes that can create a real divide. You can be an insider with all the buddies and gals at the water cooler talk, and then you get promoted, and all of a sudden you're that there. So one of the most important things for managers to be relatable. And when you are relatable, it just means you're letting people get to know you. And when people get to know you, they make a decision whether they like you or not. And if they like you, it's a foundation for trust. So from a management standpoint, my favorite bosses are the ones that I can actually walk in, close the door, and tell them stuff that's happening in my life. So they know that my week or something isn't because I can't perform. It's because I'm dealing with my father who's in the hospital or some of these other real life issues. And now in COVID, we have these real life issues. So if as a manager, you're not creating a safe space for people to be honest by showing by example, the Yiddish kish, 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 right? Then you're not letting them feel comfortable, and they're going to look for another job, or they're just going to have, some mental issues that will build up and it will affect their performance. I think that's another great example.
I also heard another little one that most CEOs that leave big corporations is that they didn't feel appreciated. It wasn't about money. It wasn't that they didn't give them 100K or whatever more or stuff like that. Everybody really I think. What do you think?
Well, it's Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Acceptance is one of the top ones, and this is where, if you sum it all up, the back of the book says "Be human" up on the top. And it's not about showcasing your story of success, whether it's online or with your friends, because people don't care about that. They care about how they see themselves in your story. And when you show them that you're actually a lot more like them than they would think, then you help them build their own careers and you help them become better managers. I just think that it's gone are the days where you can be like, I'm the best, I'm the guru, I'm this, and people are going to take you seriously. They're like, let me see your experience. So if they go to your website and they don't see anything that makes you human, they're going to be skeptical. I think people want to do business with people, and so be a person. It's just trying to put the person back into business.
And this book has a lot of that kind of thinking, if not entirely that thought, and so on and so forth. All right. Well,
it's one of those secrets of success that's staring you right in the face, Paul, because people will ask me, how do you become a successful speaker? How do you become a successful blank? And I tell them, successful people are not doing what everyone else cannot do. Successful people are doing what everyone can do, but not everyone does. It could be smiling. It could be listening more. It could be drinking more water. It could be all these daily habits. So if you make it a habit of being human, you may not like in the day feel the difference, but over a week, over a month, you'll have better connections. People will be drawn to you. Your social media will end up with more following. You will end up with more traction, engagement, all by creating more human habits. So we break down an 8-step process that gives you the step-by-step.
I love it. I really do. Really wise commentary, and I wish you much success. What's your website? You have a website also?
So you can find me and everything about me at just ryan.online. And I say you should always put your personal brand first, no matter what your company is, and that's what I do. So ryan.online. And if you want to check out the book, it's just ditchtheact.com. Pretty
Ooh,
simple.
Ryan.online.
Yeah.
Ryan.online. I'm going to go to a URL and go Ryan.online.
Yep.
And you're going to appear.
Yeah, I will. I will appear in all of my gingerness. You'll see all the freckles, the good, the bad, the ugly.
You're a pretty tricky dude. All right, that's a pretty darn good handle. All right, well, you deserve the Queen. I'm going to give you the Queen Mary.
I will take the Queen Mary. I'm going to go take it for a spin, even though it's embedded in rocks. Paul, next time you're in town, let me know. We'll do some social distance hangout, all right?
All right, sounds good. All right, thank you. Very nice to speak with you. I look forward to meeting you shortly.
Ditto. We'll do that Yiddish. We'll do that Yiddish thing.